A very good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for watching KBC Channel 1. You are in time for the lunchtime news. My name is Betty Kiptum and Lucy Maura is my colleague on the sign language interpretation. We start with our top story where the Inspector General as well as the Director of Criminal Investigations are currently in Milimani Law Courts, and we just want to listen into that. The case on the abduction cases is ongoing there. That is DCI, on the dock there. Let's listen into what's going on there.
Into the order of habeas corpus, your lordship position.
My lord, the moment if he answers the question, I'll be able to guide the court where I'm headed.
That's a very good question. I said let's
Yes, my lord.
remain in this petition.
Thank you. You have confirmed to the court that indeed there are reports of missing persons being reported in Lolongo police station.
True, my lord.
And these missing persons were abducted.
Yes, a minute. And I want us to be specific.
Yes, my lord.
It's not, again, a general question. I have only 3 people here. So ask a question in relation to the 3 people.
Yes, thank you. You confirmed that there is a report of missing persons of the number 23, 21, 12 of 2024 reported at the River Police Station.
And to be more specific,
Yes.
I've confirmed that because I'm waiting for Justice Mukuma Musuni, Martin Moao, and Karaji.
Thank you. And you confirmed that they are not within the custody of the police.
I'm saying that very, very succinctly.
And you also confirmed that you were given instructions to investigate.
Absolutely.
My question is, when were these instructions given?
Immediately the missing person report was given.
Which was on last year, December.
Yeah, correct.
And you also stated that you are bound by expeditious investigations.
Correct, although the word expeditious is subjective.
Thank you. So, how long do you need? Because I believe the certainty of the period of investigation would allow the families to have a prospective date upon which they would be expecting something out of the public servants.
My lord, the Constitution, which my learned colleagues have quoted extensively, provides that the mandate to investigate criminal offences is clearly vested in the National Police Service. And the command of the police service is vested in the Inspector General of Police. To ask for a time frame for an investigation is with tremendous respect to seek to circumscribe or to direct that investigation.
My lord,
Let's not make it hard.
most of them are.
He can answer that question to the best of his ability.
Thank you. How long do we expect at least a response from the police?
Well, when it comes to matters of criminal investigations, they are not kind. If I am investigating a case of murder, I will not be able to tell you that within this particular period of time, I will be able to apprehend the murder. It all depends on how the investigation progresses and the gravity and the complexity of the subject matter.
Thank you. Mr. Director, there are known or unknown elements for understanding undertaking these abductions. You are aware?
Sorry?
The people under their instructions were undertaking or conducting these abductions. That is the question that I was asking.
Well, Lord, you have found that the abductions were, that the petition alleges that the abductions were conducted by police officers. You have found once and you restated it when I sought a stay on Friday. I believe that finding of fact has been made. For counsel to ask a question about clandestine, then it takes it away from police officers and the habeas. Let me finish my objection. It then takes it, because police officers are police officers. They cannot be clandestine people again. Because he is then changing the position that they have taken, and he's changing the factual basis upon which these orders of habeas corpus are made. He has stated, and your Lordship was at pains to point out, that you are persuaded that the petition alleges that the abductions are by police officers.
Mr. Do not take it that we were not at pains. The petition says. So the only point I agree is we cannot take it to understand. But the petition that David says is what. So let's leave it at that, because you can only ask a question. And then remember, the officer has said he was directed, and he directed. Okay? He delegated. So there is someone who is supposed to come and tell you. Unless you don't have.
Thank you, my Lord, for directions. My question, the very last question would be, there will be no abductions to confirm going forward.
No, let's not go there.
My Lord, it's actually tied to the question about the safety of the citizens going forward.
See, you know, Council, this officer is here. That's one of the directions of the court. This will answer specific issues. If we want the general issue, I don't want to use that word, because that word has not existed either in law or in the Constitution.
I was just trying.
So let's use the language, we are in court, let's use the language that the law gives us to use.
Most of
That the language belongs to these people.
Thank you, my Lord. I was just restating the issue.
If you want us to use the language they use, we use it, but not here.
Thank you.
How can I record abduction? Because the law doesn't know anything about that.
Thank you,
So
my Lord.
restrict yourself to 3 people and not to generality. Those people are missing. So if you want us to go to generalities, then we are not dealing with both as property.
Thank you, my Lord, for the directions. I believe that.
And I got to know that.
I knew that, my Lord.
So why are you taking us the way you are taking us?
It was a guarantee of safety that the very same question that the IG responded to. There will be no question for me, Mr. Amin.
That's all.
That's all, my Lord.
Thank you. Director.
My Lord, are we now, is the court able to excuse?
That is the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, Amin Mohammed Ibrahim, who has taken the stand just after the Inspector General of Police, Douglas Kanja, and they are appearing at the Milimani Law Courts to answer to questions on the whereabouts of 3 men who were abducted in Mlolongo on December 16th, 2024. The 3 men, Justus Mutumwa, Martin Mwau, as well as Kalani Mwema. Those are the gentlemen who disappeared after an alleged abduction on December of 16th, 2024 in Mlolongo. And the Inspector General of Police, as well as the DCI boss, had been summoned by the court to tell the Milimani Law Courts their whereabouts, and they had not honored their summons a number of times, and now they have appeared in the law courts. Our very own Ruth Wamboi is on the ground, and she will be bringing us up to date on the proceedings as they continue in our subsequent bulletins. We move on to other news. Now, the family of the late former Busia Deputy Governor Moses Mulomi has confirmed he succumbed to cardiac arrest. Mulomi died on Tuesday in Nakuru while en route to Nairobi for an official engagement. Until his demise, the former Busia Deputy Governor was the chairperson, Finance and Risk Management Committee at the Kenya Cultural Center.
Before this bereavement, but we are holding strong thanks to the support of the family members, our friends, relatives, and all Busians at large. So we are continuing to we pray for all your support as we undergo this period of trial.
Yesterday we were able to go through a process with the DCI and police. We preserved his body at Umash Funeral Home in Nakuru, and today we have been able to perform a post-mortem on his body, and it's a confirmation that Mulomi suffered a cardiac arrest. And from Nakuru, I think we are transporting the body back to Bungoma for preservation.
And Nyanza Regional Commissioner Florence Moroa has led a multi-agency team in destroying 30 million shillings worth of narcotics in Nyatike, Migori County. The over 1,000 kilograms nabbed between March 2023 and September 2024 was set ablaze at Makalda Sub-County Hospital, where Moroa commended the multi-agency approach for the operation's success. She further urged community members to volunteer information that may lead to bringing more culprits to book.
As a government, we cannot stand by and watch while our youth are lured into drug abuse by unscrupulous traffickers. Many of our young people who should be building their futures have fallen into addiction, leading to broken families, lost productivity, and increased health complications.
In an effort to sensitize and equip young learners with the knowledge and skills to become responsible leaders and actively participate in electoral processes, Tenri School in Embu County recently conducted its school elections under the supervision of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission officials. The school's head teacher, Kariuki Njogu, and Rosemary Njoki, a senior IEBC official, stressed the importance of preparing students for the future by exposing them to fair election practices and the acceptance of results. Brana Sahanis of grade 7 was elected the girls' president, to be deputized by Tracy Wawira of grade 6, while Matthias Kitavi of grade 8 was elected the boys' president, and Kingsley Munene of grade 6 his deputy.
Tuko na uchaguzi wa viongozi wa Tenri School, na uchaguzi kama huu tunafanya kila mwaka mwezi wa Januari, na kupitia uchaguzi huu tunapea wanafunzi wetu nafasi ya kuchagua viongozi wao. Na mwaka huu ni tofauti sana, sababu mwaka huu tunatumia staff ama officers wa IBC.
We were invited by the school and we came in because IBC has the mandate, first of all, of conducting the national elections that we normally do after every 5 years. And we also have the mandate of conducting institutional elections whenever an institution requests us.
Now, Kwale County has launched a solar-powered streetlight project in the Ukunda and Bongwe Gombato wards to enhance security and public safety along the beach, a key source of employment for many residents. Governor Fatuma Achani emphasized that the initiative will improve livelihoods by creating a safer work environment for tourists, beach users, and residents. She also reaffirmed her administration's commitment to service delivery.
Sasa hivi ninaanzisha mataa haya, nikitoka hapa ninaanzisha tena mengine kutoka hapo Barclays kuenda Jakaranda, huko nako pia tunaweka mataa na mataa haya tunaiweka hapa ni yetu sisi sote wa Kwale. Kwa hivyo ni sisi sote tuchukue jukumu ya kulinda rasilimali yetu kama wa Kwale. Ile sisi ambayo ilifanyika ya hata time mataya kaeka watu wakapora, wenye walipata hasara ni sisi wa Kwale. Kwa hivyo kila mtu awe mlinzi. Tulindeni mali yetu. Hii yenye tunaweka hapa ni pesa ambayo ni ya umma imetumika hapa. Kwa hivyo naomba tulinde mataa yetu haya.
The East African heads of state, chaired by President William Ruto, have called for immediate and unconditional ceasefire in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo to prevent more loss of lives and destruction of property. The meeting, chaired virtually by President William Ruto, who is also the chairperson of the East African Community, urged DRC to sit with warring factions including M23 to resolve the conflict. However, DRC President Felix Tshisekedi did not attend the meeting and opted for a national address where he said he won't succumb to demands issued by M23 fighters.
East African Community Chairman President William Ruto on Wednesday convened a virtual meeting of member states in a bid to find a solution to the escalating conflict in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo.
Adopt the agenda.
The president of the affected country, Felix Tshisekedi, however, boycotted the meeting. In a communique, the meeting quickly resolved to call all parties involved in the conflict to cease hostilities and observe immediate ceasefire and facilitate human access to the affected population. The summit also urged the government of the DRC to directly engage with all stakeholders, including the M23 and other armed groups that have grievances. However, President Tshisekedi has since vowed that DRC will not give in to the demands by the M23 and other armed groups that they consider militia. Meanwhile, Rwanda's Paul Kagame has accused his South Africa counterpart, Cyril Ramaphosa, claiming he's pretending to play a peacemaker role while he was not.
He's also there pretending to be playing a peacemaker role, and he has a force that has been fighting alongside FDLR and has been fighting the M23 on the instructions of Tshisekedi, because these are people who are not supposed to be in Congo, that these are from Rwanda, or the M23 are not Rwandans, please.
He also called out former Angolan President João Lourenço and former Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta for running parallel peace processes. Kagame is further opposed to presence of forces from South Africa, development community nations, accusing East African nations for allowing the expulsion of the East African Community regional force. EAC is expected to hold a joint sitting with South African Development Community to deliberate on the way forward. Giverson Maina, Lunchtime News.
Residents of Chasimba in Kilifi County are now calling for full community involvement and comprehensive measures taken to mitigate the social and environmental impacts of the proposed establishment of the 12.8 billion shilling Mashujaa cement factory. With the project expected to create many employment opportunities, the residents are insisting on prior education about the potential health and biodiversity effects to avert risks experienced by locals of Bondora, Kaloleni constituency, where a similar factory has been erected.
Sisi kama wakazi wa mtaa huu tumehusishwa vipi kulingana na mtambo wenye utajengwa? Hilo ni swali. Lengine ni je, mazingira ya mtaa huu wa Chasimba yataimarishwa vipi ama kuna mikakati gani?
Mtambo wenyewe si kitambo utakuja hapa utakuja jengwa, na sisi wakazi hapa Chasimba hatuja kuwa na ile kuelewa zaidi na kiukamilifu.
Maswali makubwa ambao wako nao ni vipi wanaenda kufaidika na mradi huu. Kwanza kabisa kutoka kwa statement zao ni kwamba hawajakuwa involved. Information yenye wanapata wanaipata kutoka kwa hafla za mazishi.
FPIC states that free prior informed consent should be given to the locals. But what we are witnessing here is different from that.
The Embu County government has intensified HPV vaccination for girls aged 9 to 15 to curb cervical cancer. Deputy Governor Kinyua Mugo stated that by the end of last year, 72% of the target population had received the vaccine, which the World Health Organization reports can reduce cervical cancer risk by nearly 90%. Speaking at Ishiara Level 4 Hospital during an event to mark Cervical Cancer Awareness Month, Mugo urged parents to ensure their daughters complete the vaccine doses. He also highlighted ongoing cancer awareness, screening and treatment outreach efforts in partnership with Beyond Zero Foundation.
As a county, we are accelerating registration to SHA under the Primary Healthcare Fund that covers screening and management of precancerous lesions for primary health facilities. We urge all members of the public to register in order to benefit. We remain committed in upscaling awareness on early detection, risk factors, screening and treatment to prevent cervical cancer, since cervical cancer is preventable and curable.
"280 couples in Mombasa have been given premarital counseling ahead of a national mass Muslim wedding slated for Saturday. Counseling under the Shufaa Foundation has been identified as critical in impacting communication, conflict resolution and patience, which are valuable lessons in preparing for marriage. Founder Sheikh Omar Buya said the workshop will help couples lead peaceful and responsible unions.
Vijana wengi wanaogopa ndoa wa sasa kwa majukumu. Hawajaandaliwa kujukumika, kupeleka mkate, kupeleka matibabu, kumnunulia nguo. Vijana wengi hawataki.
Kwa hiyo ndoa ni jambo kubwa ambalo kwamba tumewekewa na dini, ili imekuja kufanya kumekuwa watu wameepuka machafu, na vile vile tumekuwa kila vile vizazi vimeshikana na vyasonga mbele kupeleka mujtama wa umma mbele.
Mawaidha yenye tumepata yatanisaidia pakubwa, sababu hii kukosana iko, lakini kulingana na vile tumeelezewa, tukikosana tutajua ni njia gani yenye twafaa tuifanye ili tuweze kurekebisha makosano.
Civil society organizations in Homa Bay County have convened a stakeholders meeting in Kendu Bay to strategize on increasing women's participation in leadership. Inuka Community Developers Network Executive Director Lydia Hongo stressed the importance of recognizing women's contributions in the society, noting that leveraging on awareness could encourage more women to step forward as leaders. She added that there is a need for shift in societal attitudes towards women in leadership.
The women who have occupied seats or various leadership positions have shown us that really women can do the work, women can be committed, and women can bring impact to our local communities.
Decided to do these films that are called Filamu Dada, and what those films are doing is documenting the stories of women who have made it and who are exceptional and who have leadership skills and who are using their leadership to change their communities.
As much as possible, the retrogressive beliefs and attitudes towards women leadership, and also them climbing on the decision-making table.
Financial experts are urging Kenyans to save more money to attain financial freedom. Winners Sacco Chief Executive Officer Pauline Moniki says deposit-taking societies are some of the best investment avenues that Kenyans can opt for. She spoke in Embu County, where she also encouraged Saccos to remain committed to their members and strive towards expanding their asset bases.
System because of governance, including all the other members we have recruited from other areas of operations, apart from employed teachers, the business, microcredit, the youth, and even women in our leadership of the circle.
Changamoto iko ni kuwa watu wanakuwa na shinda jinsi ya kutumia ile pesa ambao wamepata. Tunaulizia stakeholders, wasikandau wengine, circles, financial institutions wawe na nafasi ya kutrain wafanyikazi na walimu mambo ya financial management, mambo ya savings, mambo ya investment.
Now, civil society organizations in Kilifi County are raising alarm over the manner security agencies are handling cases of sexual violence. The lobby groups claim the delay in serving justice to the victims only helps embolden the perpetrators of such violence. Speaking at an event to remember women who have lost their lives to sexual violence, the activists urged the government to ensure that all cases under investigation or in court are dealt with expeditiously to enable the victims get justice.
Tutasema linamfikia mtu fulani na mwingine halimfikii.
Wito wetu kwa DCI na Department of Police waweze kuharakisha kesi na uchunguzi wao iwe short so that the community waweze kupata justice.
Tuliambiwa kwa wali make progress wakashika watu, lakini hatujapata progress nyingine kutoka hapo, na sisi kama familia tunahuzunishwa sana na jambo hilo.
Swala la femicide ni swala ambalo linaathiri jamii hapa Kilifi. Kwa nini hii idara ya jinsia, masuala ya gender, culture na youth, kwa nini hii idara imepewa pesa kidogo?
From Kilifi County to Nyandarua County, where hundreds of youths have benefited from training sessions to equip them with entrepreneurship skills for agri-businesses. Speaking in Olkalau town, Nyandarua County, Governor Kiarie Badilisha noted that the training aims at inspiring the youth to leverage the current innovations and technology trends in the agriculture sector to integrate them into their farming practices. He also challenged the beneficiaries to be proactive and effective in their service delivery to gain farmers' trust.
You get to understand your farmers, you get to work with them, you get to appreciate what they are doing, they appreciate who you are, mtakuwa mmejuana. Lakini hapo mbele kuweka hii program ya kupatia nyinyi that token itakuwa imeenda kana. Sawa sawa? We will graduate you into another level where we will expect you now to start earning from those farmers. And for you to earn from those farmers, you must prove yourself that you are adding value to their farming.
In this platform, we are coming to work as market linkages from farmers to market, even though we'll be working with 4 pillars. That is production. Then we go to value addition, advancing the technology of the farmers, and marketing.
And on that note, we take a quick break here on the Lunchtime News. When we come back, more updates, including the business and sports news. Do stay with us.
Akiangalia huko anakuwa ni mwenye kulia, akiangalia huko anakuwa ni mwenye kutabasamu. Kisha kauliza ya Adam alayhi salam, kwa nini ukiangalia mkuliani kwako unakuwa ni mwenye kutabasamu? Kwa nini ukiangalia kushotoni kwako unakuwa ni mwenye kulia sana? Anasema kwa sababu nikiangalia kuliani kwangu naangalia watoto wangu waliokuwa wema.
Iwapo mja atatekeleza amri za Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala na kuhifadhi haki za Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, basi Allah atakuwa ni masikio yake ambayo yule mja atasikia nayo. Vile vile pia Allah atakuwa ni macho yake ambayo yule mja atatumia kuona. Kuna unaloshindwa kimetokea.
nimekuja kumwona mpenzi wangu.
Oh, kumbe una mpenzi wako hapa na hujawahi kuniambia?
Kwa miaka mingi sana. Hata babake mwenyewe pia yajua. Mimi kiongozi sitaki kuongea na mtu mwingine. Nataka kuongea na wewe. Mpenzi wangu hapa ni Karembo.
Najua wataka nini.
Mimi nataka tu ukweli.
Ukweli upi? Wewe unachotaka ni kuhamisha lawama.
Haraka mwanangu haina baraka.
Najizi pia nyumba ya njaa.
Kwa hiyo
nitafika salama, fungua mlango.
Welcome back. You are watching Channel 1 Lunchtime News. Now, the women human rights defenders are calling on the government and the recently constituted GBV task force to act urgently to address the rising cases of femicide and persistent challenges in addressing gender-based violence in the country. Led by human rights activist Ruth Kinuthia, the organization is pushing for strengthening and expedition of prosecution of gender-based violence offenders and the protection of survivors.
The Women Have Rights, in collaboration with stakeholders, urged the Kenyan government and the recently constitute GBV task force to act deeply.
72% of survivors in Kisumu and 67% in Meru reported delays in accessing GBV services. Awareness of availability of GBV services remains partial in key regions, with only 56% of survivors in Nairobi fully informed of the resources. Survivors in Meru face significant financial barriers, with 72% of service requiring payment.
We are calling the government to strengthen and expedite prosecution of GBV offenders and enhance protections for survivors. Number 2, the government should empower community-based approaches by increasing support for grassroots awareness campaigns and ensure localized response mechanisms are adequately funded.
Educate communities on prevention and ensure that survivors are supported in their recovery. May this be a turning point in our collective fight for justice and equality. Viva, comrade, viva! Viva! Viva, comrade, viva! Viva! No to GBV!
To Baringo County now, where victims of banditry-prone areas of Baringo North have benefited from 350 hybrid Gala goats and 51 cows in a restocking program, courtesy of the area Member of Parliament, Joseph Makilap. The program, which was launched in Namba Saimosoi ward, targets residents from the area who lost livestock to bandits. Makilap says the initiative is also a way to improve the breeds in the region.
We are launching restocking. Hii ng'ombe na mbuzi ni awale, hii phase 1 ni a public participation under our national government budget. So we are doing the first restocking for those who lost their lives and property. So hii mbuzi 344 na ng'ombe 51 itaenda kwa majamii ambayo walipoteza maisha yao na mali yao. Phase 2 tutakuja kuangalia wale walipata injuries na kupoteza mali yao. Phase 3 tutakuja kuangalia wale walipoteza wanyama na hawa kupoteza maisha.
Youth in Wundanyi Sub-County, Taita Taveta County have been urged to work hard and seize the available opportunities to improve their lives and secure a better future. At the Wundanyi Youth Summit held at the County Hall in Wundanyi Town, Principal Secretary for Labour and Skills Development, Shadrach Mwadime, emphasized that with the emerging trends, young people have more opportunities both locally and internationally.
Najua kwamba frustration ziko za kimaisha haziwezi kukosekana, but don't go there. Usifuate mambo ya miraa ya bangi kwa sababu unaharibu your future.
Kirinyaga County Government has established a geographic information system laboratory to improve service delivery in the County Department of Lands. Kirinyaga Governor Anne Waiguru says the laboratory, which is pivotal to the digitization of land records, will enable the county government to streamline operations and enhance customer service, transparency and accuracy, and will go a long way in eliminating fraud and grabbing of public land. The GIS lab, located at the county headquarters in Kutus, has been established in collaboration with the Food and Agricultural Organization to modernize land governance processes and promote sustainable land development.
To streamline operationalization and improve service delivery in our lands department, we have established a GIS lab at the county headquarters where we will be digitalizing all the land records. This will eliminate fraud and land grabbing of public land.
Kirinyaga County, under Her Excellency Governor Anne Waiguru, Kirinyaga is one of the counties in the nation that is rolling out a program that is GIS based, that is Geographical Information System, which is capturing the data of all plots within the county, taking into consideration aspects like coordinates and where the said plots are located.
A section of locals from Igembe North Sub-County, Meru County, have raised concerns about security in the area following gunshots fired around Tiuri Primary and Junior Secondary School on Wednesday evening. The incident caused anxiety and panic among teachers and learners. It is believed the gunshots were fired by cattle rustlers who were trying to escape with stolen livestock. Residents have called for frequent patrols by police officers to enhance security in the area.
Kwa mlango si wote kukimbia sababu hatukuwa tunataka kukaa karibu hapo, sababu kile ambacho tumekuwa tukielezwa kuhusu hii sehemu ni kwamba wezi wa mifugo huwa wanakaa karibu na hii shule wakitazama, kwa sababu ukiangalia kuna milima ambayo imezingira pahali hapa, na kwa hivyo wanapanda kwa ile mirefu wakitazama, wanaona pale ambapo kuna mbuzi, kuna ng'ombe, na wanakaa wakiwa tu wanapima masaa yao ndio waweze kuja na kuiba wale mifugo.
Niliona watu wakiwa wanapita na ng'ombe mbio, wakiwa wanakimbia, wakiwa wanazipiga. Mwingine ndio wakati aliniangalia kwa kichwa, alinielekezea hiyo bunduki, akapiga ya juu ikapitia juu ya mabati. Sasa wakati wanafunzi walipiga duru, ndio wale wezi wakaanza kupiga malisasi wakitoroka pande ya chini.
Now, a section of warehouse workers from Changamwe, Mombasa County is appealing to the government to intervene in a payment rate stalemate that has remained unresolved by their employers. The workers under the Kenya Shipping, Clearing, Freight, Logistics and Warehouse Union staged a peaceful demonstration demanding the full implementation of a pending collective bargaining agreement 2023-2024. Led by their branch union officials, the irate workers also blamed the infiltration of what they termed as cartels and brokers, who they accused of frustrating the implementation of the CBA, which dictates an increase of piece rate payments by up by 4%.
Hili swala litatuliwe. Katika job group, sisi hatuna kanini the so-called wages guideline. Kwa sababu kazi yetu haiko fixed, kuna wakati kazi hakuna, na ndio hii mikataba ikaja wakasema mtalipwa kulingana vile ambavyo mmefanya kazi. Huu utaratibu ulikuwa, hii union ilikuwa inatetea watu, lakini leo hii union imevurukwa, tunajaribu kuirevive, lakini bado wanatumia wahuni kutupiga saa hii. Tunaomba serikali kuu katika kaunti ya Mombasa na bunge la Changamwe, kama hamtaingilia hili swala, amani itakosekana kila wakati.
Ningeomba hata viongozi wote watuingilie hili swala, manake tumechoka. Watu wote kabisa tumechoka. Tumechoka kunyanyaswa na madalali, na hao watu wetu ambao ni viongozi ambao wameingilia wanajiita masarangi, pia nao wameingilia wanatunyanyasa, na ndio wameleta shida katika hii idara yote. Wamehusisha watu wagawanyike, wale wasimamie milango yao na sisi tukae hivyo hivyo.
Tunataka tuwe na mazingira bora, maana utakuta kama sisi wabebaji wengi wetu tunalala nje. Kwa sababu gani? Inaitwa na nini? Yote hiyo ni malipo duni.
As the world commemorates the International Day for Neglected Tropical Diseases, Kitui County still grapples with the effects of Kala-Azar, a life-threatening disease affecting Kenyans in 11 counties across the country. Medical practitioners in Kitui County have called upon the government to increase funding towards awareness measures and medication for the Kala-Azar disease to reduce the number of fatalities. Kala-Azar is a life-threatening disease caused by a parasite that is transmitted by sandflies.
Ile changamoto iko ni lishe. Kuna wale walikuwa wakishajulikana wako na huu ugonjwa, chakula kwao ni shida. Na ile dawa ilikuwa iko na nguvu sana. Wakipoma dawa ukikunywa na chakula, ile dawa inakuzidia, inakuua. Kama tungepata wafadhili ambao bado mafunzo iendelee, ndio tusaidie hii timu. Na pia wenye wanatoka Ngomeni ama za na huko ndani wawe kuna njia wanaweza saidiwa wafike hospitali mahali umekuwa referred, ingekuwa better.
We now shift gears to the business news and make sense of the numbers. Now, President William Ruto says the government has created over 250,000 jobs through the affordable housing program. Speaking during an engagement with Kenyans in Egypt, President Ruto acknowledged the role of job creation in driving economic growth through digital jobs and programs such as the affordable housing program.
President William Ruto is in Egypt for a state visit. The president held a diaspora meeting with Kenyans living and working in Egypt, where he highlighted programs being undertaken by the government to create jobs, such as the affordable housing program.
So all these people, whether they are engineers, whether they are architects, quantity surveyors, interior designers, plumbers and electricians and technologists and all these people, and we are training millions of them every day in our TVETs and our universities.
President Ruto pointed to the quality of Kenya's human capital as an asset to the country, with international partners increasingly tapping into Kenya's human resources, which is also building sectors such as Kenya's digital economy.
Apart from the people working in our housing and industrialization space and those who are working outside Kenya, we have now rolled out a big program under the Ministry of ICT on digital jobs. The largest business process outsourcing company in the world has just opened an office in Kenya.
The digital economy is a major employment creation avenue and a revenue earner. Alanauko, Lunchtime News.
Labour and Skills Development Principal Secretary Shadrach during the Wundanyi Youth Summit is challenging the youth to continuously invest in self-improvement and personal branding. Speaking during that particular summit, Shadrach Mwadime encouraged the youth to join or form groups through which they could be supported. Farms involved in putting up electricity transmission lines to employ measures that will shield birds and wildlife from electrocution and promote biodiversity. Conservation and animal welfare activists are proposing reconfiguration of power lines, installation of reflector balls on pylon tops, or rerouting of power to reduce cases of electrocution. Speaking at Ananyuki Hotel, the activists said birds of prey were the most affected by the electrocution.
Almost 200 electrocutions of all different kinds of wildlife, but half of that is birds of prey. And those have been collected over the last 5 years. So, and I know if we talk a little bit more to Kenya Wildlife Service and National Museums of Kenya, we would even increase that number. So we need to keep collecting this data just to show the energy sector that we do have a real serious problem here.
As this
power lines expand, there's increased interaction between the power lines and the wildlife biodiversity. So there's need to have a sustainable environment.
When we work together with the energy sectors to try and mitigate the risks that face wildlife particularly, then we would be going a long way in ensuring that our wildlife are thriving, even with development, and even we are having healthy habitats for everybody.
And on sporting matters now, the government is keeping a keen eye on the governance of sporting federations in the country as it drives its agenda of ensuring that a big chunk of available talent in the country is tapped and nurtured. Cabinet Secretary for Sports Salim Mvurya says that without the proper running of federations and transparency, there can never be growth of talents to keep up with the rising global competition in the sporting industry.
As more lady rally drivers continue to find their way into local, regional and global competitions like the WRC Safari Rally Kenya, the government is keen to ensure that more sportsmen and women get the chance to put their talents on show in all the disciplines.
It's an honor and a privilege to be able to fly the KCB flag high, to be able to be part of this amazing family of rally drivers and just amazing people.
The hosting of the WRC Safari Rally Kenya, African Nation Championship and the Africa Cup of Nations is part of the government's plan to ensure more sportsmen and women get the chance to compete against the best. And for that to continue, all federations must be run in a proper and transparent manner.
If we want to make this event more successful, we need to have institutions, that are more transparent, are more accountable, and therefore we will be working around with the federations to see how we can strengthen their capacity of oversight, but also become more transparent as we mobilize resources across the board.
You've realized that the amount of money that is going to WRC has significantly dropped, courtesy of good governance that has been oversighted by government.
CS Mvurya emphasized on the need for the youth to be given a chance to contribute, especially during sporting events, as KCB pumped 209 million shillings into this year's WRC Safari Rally Kenya, set for the 20th to 23rd of March in Nairobi and Naivasha.
This WRC and any other competition is enabled by a peaceful and a very stable environment. In an environment of conflict, you cannot have these competitions.
The WRC Safari Rally Kenya will be flagged off in Nairobi before heading to Kasarani for a spectator stage. Then drivers will head to Naivasha for 3 days of tough competition.
We will continue to work with yourselves to make sure that we've integrated ESGs in everything that we do in WRC. And we had adopted SDG 13 on climate action, and we've allocated 1 million shillings to prioritize environmental conservation through tree planting and targeting 300 trees just for this particular event.
The WRC Safari Rally Kenya will be held after Rally Monte Carlo that was held in January and the Rally Sweden set for February, and comes just before the Rally Islas Canarias to be held in Spain in April. Of the 209 million shillings, 100 million shillings will go directly to the WRC event, while 23 million shillings go to the drivers sponsored by KCB.
Further afield, English Premier League side Liverpool topped their European Champions League group phase despite suffering their first loss, a 3-2 defeat to PSV Eindhoven in a 5-goal thriller. Liverpool, who had won their opening 7 games twice, took the lead in the Netherlands, only to concede twice just before the end of the first half in their 8th and final group stage match. Meanwhile, Arsenal secured their spot in the last 16 with a 2-1 win over Girona at And we end the lunchtime news on that sporty note. Thank you very much for keeping me company throughout the past hour. Remember to catch us on our 7 p.m. bulletin and 9 p.m. bulletins and interact with us online at KBC Channel 1 across our social media platforms. My name is Betty Kiptum and Lucy Maura is my colleague on the sign language interpretation. Do have yourself a lovely day. Bye-bye.
To give you an apology.
Apologize? Of course you should. We've been married for years and you never apologize. Make it formal.
Look at your hand. It doesn't look like a working hand. How pale and soft it is.
Yes.
What moisturizer do you use?
Single once again. Don't I have to celebrate, huh?
I want you to feel I'm different from usual.
Akiangalia huko anakuwa ni mwenye kulia, akiangalia huko anakuwa ni mwenye kutabasamu. Kisha kauliza ya Adam alayhi salam, kwa nini ukiangalia mkuliani kwako unakuwa ni mwenye kutabasamu? Kwa nini ukiangalia kushotoni kwako unakuwa ni mwenye kulia sana? Anasema kwa sababu nikiangalia kuliani kwangu naangalia watoto wangu waliokuwa wema.
Iwapo mja atatekeleza amri za Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala na kuhifadhi haki za Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, basi Allah atakuwa ni masikio yake ambayo yule mja atasikia nayo. Vile vile pia Allah atakuwa ni macho yake ambayo yule mja atatumia kuona. Kuna unaloshindwa kimetanda.
Hello and welcome to the program. My name is Maria and this
is health and lifestyle. Our social media handles at Mariambo, at KBC Channel 1 on X, and KBC Channel 1 TV on Facebook. Coming up in this program.
Kenyatta nikaenda nikapimwa kila kitu, nikatolewa kanyama. Wakasema nikaenda wameandika urgent. That means sasa kwa imeenda sana. Na sasa hiyo nikaenda kwa daktari na nikaanza matibabu. Lakini kufika kwa daktari nilikuwa imefika 2B.
Surviving cervical cancer.
When it's caught at the stage of screening, you want to catch it before it has transformed into a cancer at that point. Because at that time, it's easy for you to just cut it out.
Early detection remains the best bet against cervical cancer. Cervical cancer is the second most common type of cancer among women in Kenya, followed by breast cancer. Over 5,000 women are diagnosed with cervical cancer annually in Kenya, and over 3,000 of them lose their lives to the disease. And so, January being the Cervical Cancer Awareness Month, we wanted to focus on the importance of early diagnosis. Monica Njeri was diagnosed with stage 2 cervical cancer. She shares the stigma she faced and the financial challenges therein. An estimated 5,236 women are diagnosed with cervical cancer each year in Kenya, according to data from the Kenya Demographic and Health Survey. The prevalence of cervical cancer screening and awareness was also found to be low, a matter that puts women like Monica Njeri at risk